Yo, what's going on guys, Max here, helping you guys level up your game, and in this video I'll be giving you guys some tips and tricks on how to do better in cash crops. So stay tuned and make sure you watch the video until the very end to find out the most important thing that will boost your performance in the cash crops. So, have you guys ever played the cash crop and underperformed and felt pretty bad about it, and you were just frustrated at the end and you felt like you could have done way better? Well, I certainly have, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have faced the same problem. And I've played the cash crop twice before, and I came up with a lot of good tips that would have helped, me at the time, but also they're just some of the things that you guys should really throw your focus on if you want to place higher in the cash crops and just generally do better. So without any further ado, let's just jump straight into it and let me give you those tips. So firstly, I just want to say how much your landing actually matters. Landing before others in a town is so crucial, especially in these tournaments, because it will just give you the upper hand. You'll be able to get to the chests or to the guns faster than others, and the precious second you save in the early game will really bank you a kill or two, if your opponents haven't managed to get a gun and you have. So make sure your landing for your location is absolutely perfect so that you get to the guns before your opponents, and it will just basically give you a massive advantage, and you'll be able to finish fights way earlier than you would if your opponents actually got to a gun before you, or at the same time as you basically. So yeah, that's something very important to keep in mind. And talking about landing, you should also pick a decent drop spot that will have enough loot always. There's no point of just landing at one house and hoping to get a purple pump and a scar or something, because that's very rarely gonna happen. It's pretty much, the chances of that are next to none. But sometimes it will happen. However, don't try your luck and just go for a spot that is actually very good in terms of loot. Even though you may get contested a few times, as long as you know how to play out that town very well, and if you know how to get a good landing, then you are very likely to actually slay out and come out on top of that town. So as long as you know how to play out the early game, you're all good, and that will pretty much let you survive until the mid game. And when the mid game comes in, guys, that's when you guys should really focus on just staying alive. You shouldn't really push people, unless you definitely know that you have a health advantage or a gun advantage that is just ridiculous. Like, if your loadout is crazy, then you could push someone, but the thing is, you're better off staying alive and just waiting for the end game, because you're guaranteed to get points if you survive until the last 25 or the last 15, the last 5, and of course if you get a win, then you get another boost of a couple of points. So yeah, as long as you're avoiding mid-game fights most of the time and you're not pushing people, and you're just trying to focus on staying alive, you're gonna be all good, and you're way more likely to get more points in the cash cups. Also guys, I want to recommend something. Just stop being reckless in game, because it will lead to a lot of your downfalls, and that's what actually kind of affected me when I was playing. I actually played games, and as soon as I got a throwaway game, I died. I'll just keep telling myself that it's pretty much over, the tournament is done. Like, if I died like twice or 3 times in a row, I'd just start throwing. But you guys should try your best to just stop tilting and stop being reckless in game, because you've always got the chance to pull it back, and maybe you could win a couple games in a row. So make sure you make every single game count, and even if you do die a couple of times, then no worries, you can always go and retry the tournament next week. So it's no big deal, and just keep calm when you're playing, and that is one of the most important things, because these cash cups last for at least 3 hours. You know, the normal ones with 10 games last 3 hours, I'm pretty sure, and sometimes there's cash crops in the game that last at least, you know, 15 games, which is usually 4 hours or more sometimes. So do make sure you just stay nice and calm, and make sure that you don't get heated. It's just so important, and you'll go far if you implement this into your game. Anyways, another thing I would suggest doing in cash crops is making sure that you go for placement. As I've said before, not, you know, going after mid-game fights is one thing, but you know, trying to survive for the top 25 and top 15 all the time is something that will bank you points across games very easily, because you know, staying alive might seem easy, but you know, you can get killed any second, especially if you're not being careful when you actually sit in your 1-by-1s, and that is what happens most of the time in endgame with people who aren't very experienced. They try some peeks on people just to, you know, get some kills. They sit still, or they just, you know, don't play very aware of what's happening around them, and they get naded or they get sniped. And do be very careful when you're actually trying to pick up kills near the end game, because you're much better off just surviving. But if you've got good angles and you know, you're making sure that you're being very careful about what you're doing, then it's cool. Just make sure you're not going to get killed. And finally, the most important thing that will help you do better in cash cups, in my opinion, is make sure that you guys actually play the cash cup format out, because sometimes, well, most of the time, you're actually not gonna get enough time to play out all the games. So make sure that you guys play the format. And what I mean by that is, when you've got, you know, an hour left and you're still sitting on 4 or 5 games, because you know your other ones have been a success and you've made it to the end game and you got a couple kills, and now you have, you know, 4 or 5 games left and only an hour to go, as I've said before, then you guys should hot drop and try and go for as many kills as you can in the early game, and at the end just try and rush someone basically ASAP. And most of the time you're gonna die by the end after picking up a couple kills, but if you stay alive, it is really your choice. The lobbies by the end are sometimes quite dead, and you can get easy wins at the end, so you know, that could give you a couple points. But with that being said, do make sure that you guys save your last game until the queue time is left at something like 3 or 4 minutes, so that you guys get into the final game and actually have another chance to pick up some more kills, and a higher placement this time, because you're basically going to be in the last game of the tournament. And that's very valuable, because you guys can basically pick up a win, and that could put you above many people. So make sure that you guys do save the last game for, you know, when the queue times are only like 4 or 3 minutes long. So yeah. And that pretty much wraps up the video. One last thing before you go though, guys, make sure you use the code MaxGamer7 in the item store if you guys want to support me and the channel. And what it basically does is it gives me a percentage of you guys' purchase, and that would just really help me and the channel out. So yeah, I hope this video has helped you, and if it did, then make sure to let me know in the comments. Leave a like, subscribe with notifications on to never miss another upload from me ever again. And yeah, peace out guys, I'll see you in the next one.